We don't even know what to do. They got to the computer got to 20, and they're like, hey, we don't have a Big 12 team in here. We need something. So Kansas State sneaks in with a 0.5% chance to play for the championship.
So there's the FPI. You can read a lot more on that at ESPN.com if you'd like to jump in there. ESPN.com to see that. That's from the folks over there. We'll talk a lot of college football. Big picture SEC college football stuff here in just a second after we tell you about a couple of our great sponsors. One of them is our friend Alexander Shinara, trial attorney.
That's right. You might be in need of an attorney one day. Well, good news, Alexander Shinara has you covered. Shinara.com is where you start. You don't pay unless they win your case. Shinara.com. One thing Alex wanted to do was create a firm that could handle any issue his community faced. The firm handles not only personal injury claims, but claims for fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, disability, workers' compensation, and a host of other claims. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call the Alexander Shinara Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case. Shinara.com. Shinara.com.
And our buddy Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing, that free, absolutely free, no-cost roof inspection. Greg has taken off his tux, where he looked a lot like James Bond. And he's ready to come and 007 up on your roof real quick and check it out and make sure you've got no problems up there. Free no-cost roof inspection. If you call his number, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531, or Greg from Pell City on Facebook, A-plus rated with a Better Business Bureau, locally owned for over 20 years. One of the best things Greg does for you is just being a father of 10, a husband, local guy, is that he deals with the insurance guys so well, works with you to help get the most out of the insurance company, make sure you're covered in everything that's going on, full roof replacements as they age out, storm repairs. He's got a builder's license. He can handle that for you as well. And these crews are local. They're with Greg all the time, and that just gives you a little peace of mind that he's going to be with you as long as you own that home, making sure it's safe. 205-542-3531, or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. Bad time, I believe, for the SEC to lay an egg in the college football baseball playoffs. If you're just painting a scenario, because SEC meetings a few days ago, and you had every coach saying, well, just look at the baseball, man. Nobody's complaining. We've got 13 teams, and 8 of them are hosting the regionals, blah, 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 blah. Murray State beats Ole Miss yesterday. We get a clapback situation on social media. This gets used a lot. It's almost a given now. Small team beats SEC team. It just meant more as Murray State advances to the Super Regional. Taylor Korn, handling our social media, sends out the graphic with all the SEC teams that were in the regionals, just 4 on their way to the Super Regionals. Now that's 4 of 8, so you got a chance to get 3 teams to the College World Series. Auburn is hosting, Arkansas is hosting, and is Arkansas and Tennessee playing? Yeah, Tennessee and Arkansas is playing each other, and LSU gets West Virginia. So a chance of getting 3 there. At least 1 will be there because Arkansas and Tennessee plays each other. This is why we play the games. If I'm in the Big 12 or the ACC and I'm doing all this public image now of wanting my seat at the table.
Welcome in, everyone. This is the Pennant Grace. My name is Emily Grace. I'm standing up today, decided in the last 10 seconds to do so. This is Ush. We cover the Atlanta Braves, and we're still a little angry, and you might be too. So this is a place to be. We're live Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12:15. It's 12:15 on the dot. Ush, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm still a little angry.
A little bit? Or a lot of it?
A lot of bit.
Yeah.
I ain't doing too great. I'm a little perturbed.
I'm here for you.
Pennant Grace panic button hadn't been hit, but I did make sure I knew where it was.
Good.
I did locate it, and made sure I knew how to access it easily.
When will you hit that button? Be honest.
I'm not going to hit it. I'll make a promise to you, Pennant Grace audience.
He is a politician.
Pennant Grace family.
Wait. Let me preface this. He quite literally is a politician, so keep that in mind before he makes this.
I will not hit the Pennant Grace panic button in the month of June. But I'm looking at you, July, and if things don't go better in June. July 1, I'm hitting it.
Not
I'm
even
hitting it hard.
after Independence Day?
No.
So Ush is a very big proponent that the real season starts after the 4th of July for the MLB.
Well, I think, like, again, you have teams every year that appear to be contenders, and then by the time the postseason comes, you forget that they ever even were, almost, because it seems like such a long time ago. So I mean it by that. Here's the thing that shook me to my core, shiver me timbers on this stat. There are 3 teams in the National League behind Atlanta.
3.
The Pittsburgh Pirates, the Miami Marlins, and the Colorado Rockies. That's it!
That is such
That's it!
It's a horrible grouping. It's a horrible grouping to even be a part of.
This must be a misprint. That can't be right. It's right.
If only. If only. It is not a misprint. The Braves do a really good job of giving us like a week of really happy shows.
That's
right?
true.
Like we really ebb and flow here. We go from ices, watch along, to just dismay, bitterness, anger.
Being a fan of a major league team is an emotional roller coaster.
Much less an Atlanta team. I can attest to that.
Yes. Scott Forster's a White Sox fan. That's not a roller coaster. Now, that's not a great ride either.
You know what you're getting yourself into.
I don't know. That ride, Forster, I guess we're stuck. The ride is It's a Small World. The song keeps playing, but we've been stuck for a while, and I think the air's not working.
Yeah.
Inside. Is that an accurate way to describe it?
It's a way to sum it up.
Kind of on the money.
Good news, pal. I'm joining you in that pit of misery.
Hey, we square off in August, man.
Yes, we do.
You can't give up before then.
No. We'll put some stakes on that. Something we will put on the line.
We'll
Who
have
knows?
to.
By August, that may be, a very fair, even matchup if Atlanta keeps playing the way that they are.
It doesn't look good. The Braves are now to the point where changes need to happen. There's a lot of buzz about how the season is slipping away. To me, feels like nothing's changed, truthfully. I'm not buying into the season is slipping away. I feel like it was never really there to begin with, if we're being honest.
Yeah, for a day while he was owning the team, Ted Turner went into the bullpen and managed the team. And I think he's maybe joining the staff next.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing. 27-31 is the Braves' current record. They are 3-7 in their last 10. They are in 4th place in the National League East. They are 4th from the bottom in the National League. They're 10 games back of the Philadelphia Phillies, who are a professional team, and 5.5 back in the wild card.
When you put it like that, you can't really mask the state of the Braves.
It was a day off yesterday.
It was.
And so a day off can go one of two ways. You can bask in a day off,
yes,
or you can wallow in a day off. And that was a day of stewing and becoming more angry.
Bitterness, sackcloth and ashes, dare I say.
I was going to ask what you did since there were no Braves on, but I know you played poker.
I did play poker.
Primetime Poker returned.
Yes, last night.
How'd you do?
Honestly, similar to the Braves, I would say, in the sense of you have a really good hand. You have a premium hand, and you get beat by ace deuce. Pocket aces. Twice had pocket aces. Lost both times. And then I got eliminated against pocket aces. Tim,
Wow.
I see you smiling behind the glass.
Well, you were there.
I was just going to say,
Tim
like,
Milton.
if you're a real big Braves fan, I would think that the card you would associate more with the Braves than any other would be the ace, right?
Yeah, right.
And she
Yeah.
had 2 of them.
I had
Yeah.
2 of
And she
them.
lost
Yeah.
twice with
Yeah.
pocket aces. That's tough, tough to do.
Almost hard to do.
You know, it is.
right?
Like, the statistics of that are kind of insane when you think about it. Lost to a straight and a flush. So, wasn't my best outing, made final table. Finished ahead of you, Tim.
But maybe it's a Braves curse is what I'm saying. That's really what I'm kind of alluding to. Maybe you just need to quit being a fan of things with A in the
Maybe.
In the
I noticed
name.
she put in there that she finished ahead of you. She made sure to
I
get that
did.
in.
I did finish ahead of Tim.
On my night
taller.
off. Yeah, that's true. You are. You always win that argument. My night off, I watched the Dale Earnhardt documentary on Prime, which I highly recommend. I watched
Good.
episodes 2 and 3, so I still have episode 4 to go. So if you're looking for something to watch, I recommend the Dale Earnhardt documentary on Prime. Hello to Jeremy Hunter in the chat and King of all Bono Soaps. Thank you for joining us today. Started off, you got games tonight. You start a series at home against another team who is performing a little bit below expectations in
sure.
the Arizona Diamondbacks. So we'll get to that
Before we do, though,
here in a minute.
we're really depressed. We're really just not in a good place, but we can still dress really well.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you
And
say?
that can
Retail therapy.
lift your spirits and your mood. And for those that crave activity, there's only one place to go, and that is Roback.com. Roback.com, and when you fill your cart with all of the hoodies and the polos and the hats and the shorts and everything in between, on your first order, enter code PG20 at checkout and save 20% off your entire first order. Roback.com, code PG20.
All right, let's jump right into things. So obviously we've been discussing the Braves are at a point where changes have to be made.
Yeah.
And they decided to make a mid-season coaching change at third base. Freddie Gonzalez.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So,
That is so out of nowhere.
okay, now let's really talk through this. I want to break this down. When you saw that, one, what was your initial reaction? I think we just got some of it. What do you associate him with the most?
So first off,
regards to
I
Braves.
do not in any way dislike Freddie Gonzalez.
Okay.
I thought he was, likable. I thought that Freddie had some success.
He was with the club from 2011 to 2016.
Yeah, so interesting. So he was with the Braves as a I think third base coach. I think it was third base coach.
'cause he has-
03 to 06. Then he'd been with the Marlins before. Then he went back to the Marlins as their manager from 07 to 2010, then replaced Bobby Cox. Very difficult to do, by the way. He was there from 11 to 16, and then went back to the Marlins as a assistant coach, and then most recently with the Orioles as an assistant coach, and is now back with Atlanta. When I think of him, I think of that Frank Wren team where they spent a good amount of money and it ultimately did not deliver, right? And so, you're thinking about some of those big contracts, the Upton brothers, things like that. Post Chipper Jones, that is what I think of for. But that was also, Brian McCann left, things like that. That's emerging Freddie Freeman, things of that nature. And so started off well, and then you hit that low point when, and then you brought in Brian Snitker, and Brian Snitker has won since he's been there.
So there's a lot of discussion right now taking place. This is a very polarizing decision from what I've seen. And I understand it, but I think the crux of the issue was base running.
Absolutely.
And you had to make a change.
There were some bad sins there.
Very bad. Guys would be out by a mile. The Eli White incident, that was not great. And I think the Braves continually find themselves in close games. And I think as a Braves fan, and I'm curious what you guys are thinking, that's one of the most frustrating things right now is that it's not like Atlanta is out of these games by any means. They are competing pretty much every night, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. We'll get into that here in a minute.
A few one-offs, but for the most part, the Braves are in a position where they can get these wins.
No question.
No question about it. Then you have poor base running where it's a matter of a one-run game and guys are getting thrown out the plate. You can't have that.
I was talking to a Kansas City Royals fan about this yesterday. When they had their run, Kansas City had very little firepower. And they ended up going to 2 World Series and winning one, kind of inexplicably. If you're an ABC baseball team, here's what you have to have. Number one, you have to have elite defense.
Yeah.
Not very good defense, elite defense. You have to have elite pitching. Again, not very good, but elite. And you have to have the most unselfish, situational hitter, tremendous base running there is, because you are all about just advancing those guys over because you're going to be
getting
winning
them across the plate,
winning a lot of close, low-scoring games.
Exactly.
So very hard to do. Atlanta is not built for that. That is not the makeup of the team anyway. But considering how little offense they have, it is magnified when you do have base running errors. Want to go back to something that happened, prior to last year that you were on from the very beginning.
Okay.
The loss of Eric Young Sr. and Ron Washington. How impactful has that been to the organization from a culture standpoint and from an on-field standpoint?
I mean, I don't think that we can overstate it. That was one of those conversations that a lot of people played around with. I remember seeing a lot of articles about it, almost a speculation. What will the reverb be of these two guys exiting? I don't think that anyone anticipated it would be this bad.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I agree with you that it's hard to overstate. Now, EG and I, make sure we clarify this from time to time, actually aren't Atlanta Braves. We don't play for the team. Some people think we do. So we're not in there. We don't know. From a fan's perspective, that appears to be a massive loss.
Yeah, and I think that it's frustrating because the argument right now is that it feels like Alex Anthopoulos lets people go that are critical culture pieces.
Yeah.
And we might get into that. Well, we will get into that in a little bit about an injury that has come up in the last week with another guy that's very crucial to the culture, Azuna. And I think that those two guys, EY and Ron Washington, they played such a big role, not only on the field, but also in the clubhouse.
So when you're thinking culture, you're thinking Freddie, you're thinking Travis Darno, you're thinking Dansby.
And then also those two guys. So, obviously.
Charlie Morton.
Yes, Charlie Morton. I mean, even AJ Minter in a way. The night shifts. So I think there is something to be said for that. And SNIT is taking a lot of heat along with Alex Anthopoulos because it almost seems like there's nothing that's level right now. There's nothing that's stable within the Braves. And I think it's hard to win games when that's the state of things.
I don't think, going back to Freddie Gonzalez, I don't think that. Now, I predicted on Thursday's show that this will be Brian Snicker's last year's manager. I don't think Freddie Gonzalez is going to be the manager of the Braves again. Make sure that I'm clear on that. I think it'll be a different. I think it would be it could be someone from within, but it would not surprise me at all if it's an outside hire as well. And so we'll see that.
Yeah, I think we can get into that too, kind of as the season winds down, about our predictions of who will take over. But I don't think that we will see SNIT again next year. Now, we both could be wrong on that, but I agree with your prediction. And we've said before that he alluded to some things, prior to the season and things of that nature. But it does kind of go into this next phase of the show, which on top of, the issues that we're already seeing, injuries.
I want a Pennant Grace medical correspondent. Is
we
there
should find
anyone
one.
in the Disrupt Media office that has some type of medical background? Tim Melton, did you ever?
My wife is an RN.
Gotcha.
So.
What about you, though? I mean, do you have studies in gigantism? Tim Melton's a giant, for those that don't know. He's the biggest human I've ever seen in my life. He needs to wear like a one-strap black singlet like Andre.
I'll tell you this, if I was a proctologist, I'd be able to identify it.
Anyways.
I think I'm going to probably go ahead by proxy, since he's married to a nurse and hears a lot of medical stuff. We're going to go ahead and, can we go ahead and name Tim as our medical correspondent?
Is that like a HIPAA violation of some sort?
I don't know.
Don't think so.
Okay, so Chief Medical Correspondent Tim Melton, the Braves are dealing with some injuries. One that's season ending, and one that really has the sound of it's just going to be what it is this year, and they're going to play through it. So season ending, that's AJ Smith-Shawver, as we had discussed on social media. I'll do good news, bad news. Good news is, it's like, when is it ever good news to lose a starter? The good news is that is a position of strength for the team. They had to send down Bryce Elder, who was pitching well, to bring up Spencer Strider, who was returning from injury. And so, and of course the negative is the negative. He was pitching out of his mind. He's been absolutely fantastic. A young guy that I think has the potential to be one of the cornerstone pieces of the franchise.
Absolutely. He was one of those players that he was so fun to watch because he really rose to the occasion. And he never got too high, never got too low, and he's one of those pitchers that he just had really good stuff, he had really good command, and he was a difference maker too.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's awful to have that happen. And I think we should get into some of the controversy surrounding that. It feels like the Braves have a lot of controversy this season.
Yes.
And that was Stitt is receiving a lot of criticism. Shocker. How he didn't catch it in time.
Yeah.
That Strider had to actually alert Kranitz and the rest of the staff that something's going on.
Yeah, I saw the footage
video?
of that.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. I don't know. I read Mark Bowman's article kind of downplaying that.
Yeah.
He's still been, for the staff writer, he was pretty critical of Snitker
Yeah.
in other areas, but said, I don't think this is. But, like, you go back and look at the benefit of editing, where you're focused, of course, just on
One
A.J. Smith-Shawver because that's what it's showing. You can tell. I put more of that on Kranitz.
Because he's a part of the medical staff.
Yeah, and he's your pitching coach and,
Yeah.
and your trainers, and less so on Snitker, but he's involved. He's complicit in
For
it as
sure.
well. I mean, you don't want to have a player come and say, he's done. We got to pull him.
Right. It's not a great look, but to the defense, that was a doubleheader too.
It was.
So they're having to plan out the next 10 plus innings, as well as what they're watching, or 15 innings, gosh. And it's not a great look, and I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of that, but it was caught on camera that Strider was the one that had to, alert them of that. The other injury is Marcel, hip.
Yeah. You ever had any hip problems?
No.
I haven't either, but I don't have any flexibility there. I can't.
Can you touch your toes?
Touch my toes without.
Really?
Yeah, I wish I could. We had a setup where I could show everyone. I can touch
can't
my
touch my
toes for
toes.
days. Well, you're got long legs.
Yeah, I do.
Maybe you haven't noticed I have short legs. But I can't put my cross my legs like
You
a
can't
man crosses
crisscross-
his legs.
Crisscross applesauce?
I could probably do that, but I mean sitting in a chair where you have your ankle rested on your knee like how a man
Yeah.
can sit. I can't do that really.
Really?
I mean, I guess I can, but not very well.
Interesting. So your hip
I lack
flexors.
hip flexibility, but I don't have hip
'Cause I'm
problems.
sitting. Look, I'm
Yeah,
sitting.
yeah. They look at you.
Anyway.
Marcelo Zena's got hip problems,
he does.
and it's not something that's going to be dealt with this season. He's going to play through it, and he's. I've got last 7 I want to go through at some point in the show today. Marcel's playing well.
He's playing well. I want to get into this conversation about what you do in this situation, because you also have guys like Sean Murphy and Drake Baldwin
Yeah.
who are hitting pretty well right now.
Yeah, but here's the benefit. Marcel's DH. He's not in
True.
he's not in the outfield, and they're using base runners for him some too in key situations. And so he's still hitting the ball and he's still drawing walks. Marcelo Zena's still getting on base and doing his job. I think he's fine. And I think that they're going to continue to primarily use him in the DH spot. But as we talked about Thursday, I suspect this is his last year in Atlanta.
Yeah, so he was on a 4-year, $65 million deal with the Braves. This is his last year before becoming a free agent. Let's look at those last 7, and then I want to get your thoughts on what this means for,
Earned every
his-
dollar of that contract,
He
by
did.
the way. So speaking of Marcel, last 7 games he's batting. So we're going to look at batting average, hits, and walks. He's batting .360 in his last 7 with 9 hits and 5 walks. We've talked about this a lot. Marcel is great at drawing
He's
walks.
great at it.
He's tremendous to watch at the plate. Michael Harris II, much better, .296 the last 7 games, 8 hits, 0 walks. We talked about that too. Terrible at drawing walks. Mike is getting a hit or he's striking out.
Yeah, no in between.
That is the next phase in the evolution of his game. I believe he needs to learn how to do a better job getting on base. He needs to draw more walks.
Yeah.
Ronald Acuna Jr., phenomenal, 320 with 8 hits and 4 walks, doing exactly what we thought that he would. Pause there.
Okay.
Another Snitker criticism. I would not do any kind of platoon with Eli White.
No.
So I think Verdugo is a little bit better. I trust him more at the plate than Eli White. I think he's a little bit overall better hitter. But Eli White is faster
the
and he's a better
speed.
defender.
Yes.
Put him in left.
Yes.
Put him in left until Profar comes back. Leave Ronnie alone in right.
Agreed.
Okay, glad we agree on that.
Okay, yeah.
Austin
Easy.
Riley, same as Michael Harris at .296. He has 8 hits and 3 walks, but has 2 home runs in that stretch as well. Now, not so good. Hotsy, totsy, hotsy, Nazi. Matt Olson only batting 207, 6 hits and 1
Matt.
walk. Ozzy Albies was
He was
playing well, and
yeah.
he's starting to come back down. 261, 6 hits, but he has 5 walks. Not too bad. Sean Murphy, 182, 4 hits and 4 walks, and then Drake Baldwin, 182, 4 hits and 2 walks. But in his last 15, he's batting 378, and for the season, he's batting 321.
Yeah.
So Drake Baldwin, to me, still your best offensive player so far in 2025.
Well, when you look at the numbers, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what the Braves end up doing with Ozuna. I think he's a fan favorite. He's a great culture piece, but with this injury, you'd be hard pressed to continue to pay a contract like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's one of those things, longevity wise, I don't know what it looks like.
I agree. Again,
And
it would surprise me.
It would surprise me as well.
A couple of things in the chat. One from Robert, and welcome everyone. Glad to have you joining us. From Jeff. I always don't know how to pronounce that. I think it's Passan.
Yeah, Jeff Passan.
Passan. Today, Braves plan on staying put at the deadline, which is baffling to me, Robert. If that is true, I am equally baffled by that. That's an odd one. And then Jeremy, going back to the managerial talk, if it is Brian Snitker's last year, would Chipper be a candidate? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think he'd want to get back into that world.
I don't think he would want it, and I don't think he would have the experience. Now, talk about culture.
That would be.
There's no better culture guy than Larry.
Jones.
Yeah, and he's big on there.
I remember for his last game at Turner, we went, and I had this white T-shirt, this little Gildan, little kid T-shirt. What year was that? 2000.
That was 2011
or
12.
And so I was 11. And I wrote in red, white, and blue, I guess red and blue, "We will miss you, Larry," across it.
I love that. 12 or 13.
I think it was, I want to say it was 2012. Let me check
And you were happy how old? Because I was
11.
I already had gray in my beard and was bald and paunchy. You were 11.
I was 11. 2012, yeah.
So for those of you
2012.
tuning in that did not know, actually EG and I are different ages and from slightly different generations.
Isn't that weird? I don't think people ever really realize that.
Surprising.
It really is.
2040 is as far away as 2010 was.
Seriously?
Blowing my mind here, Tim.
Or 2010 is.
That's
I guess.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What year is it? 2025.
It is 2020. So yeah, different generations, Tim. And EG and I are not the same age, by
Me
the way.
and Tim.
How old will you be in 2040, Ush?
I don't know.
I'll be 39.
Math's hard.
Will you still be doing the Pennant Grace, or will you be retired by
I
then?
guess I'll be dead.
No,
probably.
you won't. What?
No? Okay.
In 15 years?
Well, you
Hey,
never know.
As the Pennant Grace medical correspondent,
Yes.
you will indeed be dead.
Oh
Okay,
my
wait, you
gosh.
heard it here, folks.
This is-
I mean, that is straight from
No,
Chief Medical
no.
Correspondent.
This is not where I wanted this to go.
I would like for you to sing at my funeral.
I can't sing.
Well, you're going to learn.
I
Wind Beneath My Wings.
In the arms.
Oh, that would be good too. Yeah, yeah.
no, I'll be 39. So much life left to live.
Yeah, so I'll be like 100 or something.
No, you'll be. How old are you?
I don't remember.
40.
He's obviously
6.
self-conscious
46.
about it.
Oh,
I'm not. I'm okay with it.
46.
46. What's
Well, you'll be in your 60s.
that's
Yeah.
like prime life. That's where my
Yeah.
parents are right now. They're loving life.
Good.
Yeah,
Maybe
so-
maybe I'll be loving life.
A lot to look forward to.
I hope I have a lot of winning to look forward to. Did you get the year on that Chipper Jones last
Yeah,
game?
it was 2012.
It was 2012.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You're right. That was 11.
So tonight, 6:10, Zach Gallen and Spencer Strider. Zach's 3-7 with a 5.54 ERA, and Spencer 0-3 with a 4.5. He's been looking good since his return. Game 2 tomorrow night, 6:15. Merrill Kelly, 5-2 with a 3.78, takes on Chris Sale, who's been absolutely outstanding
Yeah.
as of late. He's now 3-3 with a 3.06. And then game 3, day baseball, businessman special at 11:15 Central Standard Time. Brandon, I think it's Hunt. I think that's how you pronounce that. He's 7-4 with a 5.05 against Grant Holmes, who I guarantee would just love a little run support.
Yeah. Seriously.
He's 3-4 with a 3.78. Grant's pitched really well and has had terrible luck. After that, you go to San Fran.
Yeah, you have a little bit of road trip.
3 in San Francisco, which used to strike, talk about around the same time of Chipper's last game. They used to strike fear into the heart of every Braves fan when you had to go play in San Francisco, how good they were. They sold out every game. That was a very difficult place to play. San Francisco Giants having a good year this year as well. And then 3 at the suddenly relevant Milwaukee Brewers. Do not plan the Brewers' funeral. They're not dead yet. And so what do those two teams have in common? Well, like most of the National League, they have a better record than the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, and then you come back home for the Rockies end of next week. So the 13th, 14th, 15th. Then you have the Mets. So the month of June really doesn't get any easier. You'd have the Marlins to cap things.
Speaking of Rockies and Marlins, I saw footage of Marlins Rockies. Was that on the next round today? Was that where I saw that? Anyone watching that show? Has anybody watched that show?
It was.
Thank you.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Bono, by the way, Bono Subs knows I'll either be dead or 61. So he's playing. He knows me well and knows my age better than I do. Yeah. Thank you, Bono. So Scott, if you have that, this is Marlins. So
hang on a sec. I kind of deleted it after.
I don't blame you. It was depressing. So as I just said, these are 2 of the 3 teams that have a worse record than Atlanta. These are also in the case of the Marlins, a team that even when they're good, even when they make the playoffs, struggle to draw a crowd. Is that an accurate way to put it?
Yeah.
So they play in a dome or a retractable
which I don't love
facility. And they were hosting Colorado. And if you had a loved one in attendance and they did the, where you wide lens, you see the whole, you would spot them. Just say, what color shirt are you wearing? It's green. I see you.
It's pitiful.
It's pitiful.
It's awful.
Atlanta did have a well-attended series. Boston always has people there.
Yeah.
There you go. There's the
there it is.
still from it.
There it is.
I mean, that's painful.
It's not
You
good.
hate to see it. You do.
It's a Major League Baseball game.
5,800 people was the announced attendance.
Think of the atmosphere there versus, by the way, Scott Forster, an Auburn alum.
That's correct.
Some talk recently, including on today's next round, that the newly renovated Plainsman Park may be one of the elite atmospheres in all of college baseball. I've always loved Plainsman Park, but now it has it's even better than it was.
Yeah, you can go sit on top of the wall now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You imagine the difference in atmosphere at when Auburn is that Friday or Saturday? Auburn is hosting that.
Yeah, they have a regional.
Yeah, late Friday night.
Friday night. Imagine the atmosphere, Scott, there, and contrast that with this Marlins Rockies atmosphere.
You just
Electric.
Yeah. You can't even compare it. Well, listen, as we kind of close out the show here, the Braves desperately need to get back on track.
Yeah. So what does that look like? So that would be a, honestly, just to take 2 or 3 from Arizona.
Yeah.
And, in that stretch that we've been talking about, you have to go back to May, to your point about close losses. You got to go back to May 22nd. That was a 7-8 loss to the Washington Nationals. That's the last time the Braves gave up more than 5 runs.
When you hear that stat and you look at what's transpired afterwards, it's so disappointing.
I just said, they're 3-7 in their last 10. You got to go back to the 22nd where they gave up more than 5 runs. And then, at the very beginning of the month, the Dodgers dropped 10 on them. But other than that, this is 4-3-2, at most 5 runs.
Yeah.
So again, the pitching is doing what it needs to do. The pitching is in place for Atlanta to contend. Absolutely on the starting front. I agree that the bullpen does need some help. That's why it would be baffling to me if they did not make moves to that unless they're going to be sellers. But the offense has to come up. They just absolutely have to.
Agreed. I don't really think there's much more I can add to that besides that simple fact because, as you mentioned, pitching is doing its job. You have to have run support.
As we close it out, going back to fashion, the if we can get a shot on me, the hat today. I know most people, when it comes to the two of us, do not want to look at me. This is the Hub City Spartan Burgers hat sent to me by my cousin El Cuzzo, Alex Perez. So shout out to Alex. Thank you for the lid. I love it. Minor League Baseball continues to have the best hats, logos, and names. And the more out there and crazy they get, the better. The Hub City Spartan Burgers.
That's
and you know how much I
awesome.
love a hamburger.
You do love a hamburger. That's great. I was in Biloxi this past weekend for a wedding, very fabulous event. Went to the casino, played some poker.
Of course you did.
They have a minor league team there.
Yes, they do.
And it was like such an awesome stadium. It was
Shuckers.
right. Yes, it was right outside the casino.
Oh, so is it a nice looking?
Yeah. Oh, it
okay.
looks fabulous.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Rays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is that's in the Barons division. I'm
Interesting.
almost sure of that.
Yeah, but it was cool though because I didn't know that they had that, and I
Yeah.
was like, man, they should pick the Aces or something.
I just thought of a great idea.
What?
We should do some type of PG meetup at a Barons game.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, let's
That would
do
be
that.
so. Have you been to a Barons game
yeah,
recently?
with,
though?
yeah, because when Ben was in the minor league.
That's true.
Yeah.
Who are they a affiliate of, by the way?
The White Sox.
Chicago White Sox. I bet
The
we could
Chicago
get.
White
I bet we could get Scott Forster to
I
join
bet we
us.
could,
If
yeah.
I
That could
promise,
happen. That could
if I promise to pay for hot dogs for him and Tim Milton, I bet I can get them to join us.
I think so.
Are you sure you're able to fit that bill there? I'm a
Well, I'm
very
gonna-
massive human being.
I'm gonna start a GoFundMe.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can definitely cover Scott's, and then I'm gonna take donations from
Take a
others
loan out.
to take care of Tim.
So let's like workshop Thursday's show real quick because we
Yeah.
have a few options here.
Yeah, so I have a conflict. Unfortunately, I'll be in Prattville for 2 days. Cannot get out of it. Duty calls.
Yeah.
And so
The
my
nation is
lovely
calling.
and illustrious co-host will be flying solo.
Yeah.
And I had a great idea for her.
Yeah, let's run it past all 220 of you guys watching.
Ask EG anything. Now,
This makes me
parameters on that.
nervous.
Let's let's be respectful.
Yeah.
But other than that, you can talk obviously Braves, baseball in general, sports, where she's from, obviously fashion. That's discussed a lot
Yeah.
on the Pennant Grace, as is food, things
Yeah.
like that, shows, movies, music.
Job.
None of that is off limits. An Ask EG Anything edition of the Pennant Grace Thursday, as well as you recapping this Arizona
Yeah.
series and looking ahead to San Francisco.
So let us know what you think. We're gonna workshop it around, and if it works, then next time I'm out, we'll do one with you.
I already have a
Ask-
question. I'll do a preview of it that Thursday show
me?
right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm scared.
No, nothing to be scared of.
Okay.
You're safe with me.
Okay.
What was the best thing you ate
In Biloxi.
at the wedding?
Oh, that's a great.
I assume there's
question.
good food
Yes.
here.
Yeah. Well, the wedding meal itself was amazing.
Yeah.
Filet with
Now,
little.
listen, hold on. Wedding food expert, okay? EG goes to a wedding maybe every day.
literally
Every
this
other
week.
day.
Yeah.
She's at a wedding. Hey, can you want to? Nope, sorry, I'm at a wedding.
Yeah. You texted
every
me
time.
today, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been to a lot of weddings in the last 2 months. Food was fabulous. I had a filet with little fingerling potatoes and asparagus with crab on top.
Ooh.
It was fabulous. Shout out to the Pates.
Yep,
for that.
Pate State.
Pate State
Gotta
wedding.
love it.
It was awesome. That was amazing. And then I had red beans and rice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh gosh, my little headphone came out.
Yeah. I love red beans and rice.
I had that at a great restaurant. I had crab cakes. And then at the casino, I had really good chicken fingers.
So Biloxi overall, thumbs up?
Thumbs up. Yeah, great experience. I'd definitely go back.
There you go.
Yeah, I'd go play poker, good restaurants. Yeah, 10 out of 10.
No
12 out of
Biloxi Blues for EG.
10. None.
So we've got Braves Diamondbacks tonight, 6:10
Yep.
Central Standard Time. Make sure you're following us on social media. You never know when we'll pop in there, do
No,
little
you don't.
post games, things like that.
Yeah.
And we might have one of those tonight. We'll see. We'll be back Thursday with an Ask EG Anything episode
Yep.
Thursday at 12:15 Central Standard Time.
All right, we'll be back with you then. We really appreciate all 224 of you that chose to spend your afternoon with us. We always have a good time here on the Pennant Grace